Welcome to Next to Madison, a podcast to help you live your best life.
Episode of Next to Madison. I am your host, Madison Malloy, and on today's episode, I am sitting down with two amazing matchmakers. I have met them in the past. They are so awesome. They're just kind-hearted, amazing people, and they get dating. They have been super successful. They've been on TV. They've been in business over 17 years. They are the ladies from Project Soulmate, and I'm so honored that in their busy schedule from finding all love matches all over the world that they decided to come on my show. And we're talking dating advice, first date topics. We talk about how short you should make a first date, how to do a first date, all the stuff, what makes a great match, why people need matchmakers, avoiding situationships, anything you need to know about relationships and dating. This episode is absolutely for you. It's fun. These ladies are so fun. And it's going to be a hoot. So we'll be right back after this message with our amazing guests.
Hey, it's Madison Malloy. I just wanted to remind you to make sure you grab a copy of my book, Time to Lighten the Fuck Up. It is a great, funny self-help book that is going to help you get out of your own way. I have already helped thousands and thousands of people, and they are on their way to living their dream life, and I want every listener to be able to live their dream life as well. So grab a copy of the book on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or even the audiobook on Audible. Now back to the show.
All right, we are back with our amazing guests on this episode of Next to Madison. We have got the matchmakers from Project Soulmate with us. I've got Lori and Jen. Ladies, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thanks for having me.
Hi. Okay, so we're going to dive right into this because there's a lot to unpack in such a limited time. So first thing I want to start with is, why do people need a matchmaker?
Do you want us each to answer? What's better for you, Madison?
I want you, take it one at a time.
Okay, go, Laura.
I think more than ever, people really need matchmakers because time is the most valuable commodity, and people are wasting a lot of it for sure because there's so much out there, so much on the apps and life, and the stimulation's crazy, and we literally weed it out.
Okay,
I also think people are super busy with work, and they really just want to hand over their love life to somebody who could screen and vet everybody for them versus them going out with a random friend setup or an app setup where they don't really know anything about them.
No, that makes sense. Okay, so what do you guys find in your years of doing this and being very successful makes two people a good match?
Well, I think a lot of things. I mean, you first have to start it off with the basics, age range, religion, and height. Basically, those are the very general things. And a lot of times after that, it's this sort of feeling we get. I know it sounds crazy, like hobbies, obviously, but we also don't think you need to have the exact same hobbies as your partner. So sometimes it just comes up to like, wow, this person and this person, they would just be such a great match.
Yeah.
It's just a feeling sometimes.
Absolutely. And
I think we know what people don't know, where when someone says, okay, this is what I need, it almost 9 out of 10 times with people that aren't really young, that have fully developed brains, so let's say 30 plus, I think they're like, I want someone who has time for me. I'm like, oh, your ex didn't have time for you? They're like, how did you know? Or I want someone who's so loyal. I'm like, oh, your ex wasn't loyal? Yeah, he cheated on me. Or I want someone that doesn't have a substance abuse problem. Oh, yeah, my dad had a substance abuse problem. It's like, so it's not always what you're looking for. You think that's what you want, but that's a piece of it. That's what you didn't have. So we're able to put everything together like a puzzle and say, hold on. I know where you brought up, it was so important where your mom stayed home, and maybe that's not as important to you, or maybe religion's not as important, or maybe politics isn't as important. What was in your childhood might not always be important. What was mirrored might not be exactly what you need.
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. And so let's talk about the thing that everyone's talking about. It's such a trending topic online, the good old situationship. How do you avoid a situationship? Personally, I say to avoid a situationship, keep your legs closed till they buy you a house. What is your take on that? I'm going to start with you, Lori.
Wait, what? Say it again.
Keep your legs closed till they buy you a house. Not really,
Keep
but
your
you get it.
legs
It's
closed.
close. It's the
I thought you said close.
foundation of a relationship. That's what the
So you're
house
trying
signal.
to say no intimacy until they buy you a house?
Not the house represents a foundational, stable relationship. So
To
it's
me,
a
that sounds like a
joke.
gold digger, girl.
No,
Right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, dick joke girl right here. So yeah, you got to make it funny. But yeah, the house is the foundation of a stable relationship. That's what that signals. So anyways, I was trying to be funny. You guys didn't get my joke. So
No,
let's
I
go
love it.
into
I love
why why how do you avoid situationships? I'm going to start with you, Jen.
You know what? I think the important thing is to just sort of get to know somebody before you meet them. I think that connection could actually help because you're taking out the whole the judgment that you get when you physically meet somebody in person. So maybe do a couple of phone calls first and see if you guys have things in common at all. Is there like a good rapport going on? And then once you meet, then the physical connection, you'll see if it's there or not, in addition to the emotional connection.
Yeah, that makes sense. Lori?
I think what she's trying to say is it's important to get the emotional connection first, but like in our type of business, we don't let anyone speak before because then you start talking and there's a dog barking and a kid screaming and you had a bad day. So it like kills it. But in life, I agree with Jen. It is important because if you're already not vibing on the phone or someone says they're going to call and not, it's a no-go. But I do agree you should learn to have an emotional connection and get to know someone before you just give them yourself. Like, why buy the cow if you could get the milk for free?
Yeah.
I think that's what you were trying to say, Ish. But at the end of the day, let me be real with you, Madison. If it's going to work, it's going to work. It doesn't matter. You could have sex the first night, but you're not setting it up to be more than maybe just that, right? If you want to know the end, look at the beginning. So what you put out is important, not putting out like that. But my point is, I really think it's important to lay the foundation for your house.
Yeah.
Like, I'm looking for a relationship. It might not be with you because then it's like, oh, I just met you. You're coming on too strong. But like, I'm not looking for a booty call. I am, but again, not from you. Like, so you have to be clear of what you're looking for without being how to lose a guy in 10 days.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. But I like what you just said because it's true. Like, it doesn't matter because I've had guy friends say this too. You can hold out until the 10th or 12th date. If that guy was going to leave after, he's going to leave anyway. So whether you bang him on the first date or the 12th date. But I have found, and what I've talked to friends and other people in coaching, is that something changes after intimacy, especially on the female side. So even if it's meant to be, like, what is exactly that's changing?
Opposite. It changes more for the man because men are hunters. So once they have it, they're like, yeah, maybe more women get attached. But I don't totally agree. In our 17 years of business, which is great that we have a different standpoint, is it's like you be yourself, fine. I mean, that's not going to change. And men are hunters. But in this day and age, plenty of women are just like men too. They're just as visual. People are just looking for hookups. Plenty of my friends are like, I have all the money in the world. I have all the friends in the world. I need a guy for one thing. It's not so different. Okay. So if someone's looking for a serious relationship, that's different. But in this day and age, women are just like men.
But sometimes you also need to have that physical connection. I mean, even speaking about the men, for example, yeah, you can have a great night and he could be like, wow, and could be maybe even fall more for you because of that particular night. And you know what? It always comes down to what my mom always said when I was growing up, like you always want a man that just loves you a little bit more than you love him. And this is, I think, something that can be relatable to that intimacy part, because if that man has such a great experience and feels so much more connected to you and feels like he has this like prize in his mind, it's actually a little bit better. I mean, I don't want to call a woman a prize. Sorry, I didn't mean that, because women are not prizes. But like,
It could be.
I was like,
it
I'm
could-
a prize.
It could be the constellation prize.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. No, it's very well. But the thing is, like, I tell people this. I said, listen, you can't change biology. I don't give a shit about this. Like, we need equal rights, but we're not equal. We're just not. Women get attached. It's oxytocin. That's how God created us.
Yeah, but
Men,
have
hunters, and
oxytocin
gatherers.
too.
No, I
That's the
agree. But
code
how we
level.
bond, I know, is differently, and it could be. But I know friends that are like, no, I just want to have a one night stand. I just want to hook up. But deep down, they really don't.
Bullshit.
So
My other
that's
partner's here
the.
right now. She'll tell you it's not like that. You're wrong.
I think it
It's
depends
just
on the
how you-
person. I don't think I'm wrong. I think it depends on the person, like how individual is wired.
No, but you're
I
saying
feel that
women in general get more attached. It's not true.
No,
with you, Madison, I think they do.
I
And
yeah,
I think women,
I do. I know I do. For
I
sure.
think women overall could get more attached with the little things, like the teddy bear, the kiss on the head,
Yeah.
where, that.
My Israeli coworker is going like this. I got to be honest. If someone is looking and they're in their mating time, once you have kids, it doesn't matter. If you're looking to start a family and want kids, and
Yeah.
it always depends on what stage in life. Okay. If you're talking about a standpoint like, okay, you're single looking for a relationship, that's very, very, very different. If you're looking to start a family, but people, once they're past that in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, there's a whole lot of life to live. And at the end of the day, I always believed in truly hoes before bros. Like, I'm much more attached to my females than my males. Like, everybody is different. And one size doesn't fit all. But yes, we're known to be more emotional, and men are supposed to be the hunters. But in this day and age, it's like so many of my friends are breadwinners. And to give a little pushback to Jen's comment, because I've heard a lot of people say that. And again, you're right. No one's wrong. Everyone's entitled to their opinion.
Yeah.
It's your experience. It's your upbringing. It's how your brain's wired, what you've been through, your relationship with your father, your mother. But when someone says like, oh, you want someone to like you a little bit more. Well, I was married 20 years. That's a long sample. And there were times I feel like I loved my ex more. He loved me more. Like Jen was like, when you guys met, Brian was always chasing you around. And then she'll say there was a time I was chasing him around. And now I'm with someone for 5 years. There's been points where, I've had so much more time and he's had more time. Like, relationships are not like this, else you'd be dead. They're like this. So it's never going to be, oh, he always likes you a little bit more. She likes you more. It really ebb and flows, because sometimes a woman's obsessed with her man, and then she has kids and she's obsessed with the kids, and then the man's jealous, and then he becomes. There's too many different cycles of love and phases of relationships that it's not like, oh, yeah, he loved you more when you were 21 and hot, but now that you're 50 and you have a dry, and you're going through menopause, he might not like you so much more, Madison. He might fucking hate you.
Okay, well, here's the next question then. I'll start with you, Jen. What is your advice to cheat-proof your relationship?
To what it?
Cheat-proof.
To Ashley Madison.
Yeah, like to prevent your partner from cheating. Like, what are some strategies to when your vagina's dry and they don't want to fuck you anymore?
You know what?
Well, their dick ain't working. How about
Exactly. Exactly. These old men and their balls. I'm like, get out of here. Go home to your grandkids.
that was the best. That was the best line you've had.
I think to show your partner, guys, I think to show your partner respect is really important. Respect and love. I know it sounds cheesy and corny, but like, to feel like whether I'm looking at my partner or my partner's looking at me, there has to be that mutual something where you feel like they appreciate you and they want to come home to you, whether it means like, it depends. If you're a super sexual couple, then that would mean that you would put like notes and text messages that say, can't wait to see you, like, and whatever else you want to write that's maybe a little bit more dirty. But I think you have to just figure out your relationship and what your relationship needs. But I think overall, respect of each other and appreciation is one of the most important things.
Absolutely. All right, Jen, I know, or Laura, you are dying to respond. Let's hear it.
She is.
Not at all. I'm a much better listener than talker. That's for sure. Trust me. My coworker's here. She said, nothing you can do. And guess what? I agree with her. A cheater's a cheater. You can give them male and female. You know, you can give them as much attention, as much sex, as much appreciation and oxytocin. But someone who's always looking, you know, like is insecure and maybe like, you know, it's about them. She just said it. Very well said. Thank you. It's really it is what you want to talk to. I'd love to get her on.
Yeah, come on. It's the external validation that they're seeking. So usually,
correct.
Yeah.
Well said. But someone could be in a relationship where the woman has stage 4 cancer and is dying, and she's like, do what you want. And the guy's like, I'd never, ever. Like, there are people that are just loyal people, both men and women, but it's not always what you give. You can't make someone cheat on you, right?
And
you probably can't stop it. If they're going to do it, they're going to do it.
Right.
So I think that comes
down to, Lori said earlier, to how they grew up, right? What their influences have been in life, what they went through. So,
right.
Yeah, no, that makes absolute sense. So when we've
seen it all and we've heard it all. We used to work out of hotels when we first started our business before, not like that. That sounded really bad.
I was like,
the lobbies. We were waiting. And we'd see people's like husbands walk in and out. And this is before they were used as like conference centers for like business meetings. Like, we've seen it all. We've watched it all. We've heard it all. And look, someone can have an open relationship. I have nothing against anything that anyone wants, but I do agree with Jen wholeheartedly. It's like, it does matter your upbringing. It does matter what you've seen. And it does matter, like, can you look yourself in the mirror? Like, if someone is good to you, how could you look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm not going to be good to them? But it could be, like Jen said, an upbringing, a sense of like someone who felt lonely. Their mother was only concerned with themselves and didn't give them the proper attention. I mean, at some point, Madison, you have to grow up and take responsibility for yourself. Yeah. You just do.
We're just 100%. Missing that empathy gene, you know, that gene that like where you'd feel bad if you did something to hurt somebody's feelings.
That's what I was saying, looking in the mirror.
Empathy.
You know, but
empathy.
Karma's karma. You know, all the home wreckers and all the people that think it's what won't come out. Oh, it will come out.
Well, of course.
To watch it.
Yeah. You guys are like, let this unfold right now. So
not in that way. More like you're, you know, fucking you're pregnant. You know, you're having sex with your wife who's pregnant, or you're out there doing your own thing. You're disgusting. Or even the wife, like you have such a good husband and you're out there, like, just leave. Say, I'm getting a divorce and move on. People do it.
I know. Karma is real. So what are some great first date questions? Like when you guys are with a client and you're like, okay, you're getting ready for this date. Like, do you go over like, don't discuss this, don't do this? Like, how do you kind of set up yourself for a first date success?
I think a lot of it is, well, I think the main things not to talk about are important, like past relationships and, you know, anything that has to do with love and somebody else. And we always joke, like, out of nervousness, a lot of people just naturally bring that up. So what we always say, or I always say, is there's always like that one line you could say and be cute about it and be like, hey, maybe that's a question for a third date. So that way it's like an easy way to make a joke about it and say, let's move on and let's talk about something else.
So if you're a woman and you're on a date with a man who's divorced, is it appropriate to say, you know, do you mind if I ask you like what happened?
No, I don't think that's appropriate for a first date.
Not appropriate for a first date. Okay.
Talk about interests, what you did last weekend. You like to travel. Like you could ask if they have kids, you could ask about their children. Like But I really feel like it's important to not bring that up as far as like the ex.
And so when can you start to dive into that if you're dating somebody who's been divorced? Like, because I think it's important to be like, well, what happened? What
Dating's
would you do
different
differently?
than a
I
first
think
date.
Yeah. I think the second or third, it's fine.
Okay.
I think first date, you just have to sort of like go into a space that's non-judgmental. And I feel like with asking about the ex, there's going to be judgments automatically because you're not going to maybe believe the person. If
Right.
they said something, you're better off just staying away from it.
Okay. Good to know.
I
And
think
what,
being present, just present questions like, what did you do today? Like, what are
Yeah.
you doing this summer? Like, surface things, because no one wants to talk about the past, and no one wants to talk about, the future. Like, no one wants to know you want to have 4 kids and you want a house, in Nantucket. Like, be present, be happy, smile, engaging. No one wants someone sitting on their phone. No one
Yeah.
wants someone that came in and smells bad. Like, look normal for your date, show you cared, be present, be available. Don't shake someone's hand. Don't make it a business interview. Light, sweet, and short. A first date should be a 1-hour drink. That's it. If
So
it's
no dinner.
amazing,
No.
if it's amazing, you could stay for dinner, but the longer it goes, the more drinks, the more things could go wrong.
Yeah. You want to
That
leave
is
something
meant
to
to
the imagination for the second date.
oh, that's really interesting. I haven't heard that before, but that's actually really great advice, is to keep it
Thank you.
short window.
Short and
Yep.
sweet.
Because
Short
I
and
think,
sober.
yeah, I think most women are like, oh, for me, talking from experience, like in the past, like I would, if I met somebody on an app, I would FaceTime them to make sure that they
Right.
look like themselves and that I liked their voice and there was a connection. And then we would do dinner. Because I was like, I don't want to just go and have a drink date.
That's amazing, because your drink is your FaceTime.
Yeah. Okay. So
I
that could
love
be
it.
another. Okay.
Great. But not everyone can schedule
Right.
it, or people are traveling, or like, I don't know about you, you're adorable. I don't like to look at my face. Like, not everyone would want it. Like, so I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Great idea.
So how long should the second date be?
I think you have a little
Dinner.
more time.
Dinner, something fun, walk in the museum. There's so many cool things, especially if you're in the city. I don't know if that's who we're talking to right now, but I feel like there's so many great free things to do in any city.
Like activities, even not a city. Like, people have all different fairs. Like, activity dates
Yeah.
are fun for second or third date. And then you're talking about the activity, and you're seeing, like, is the person you're going mini golfing? Are they helping you with the golf clubs? Are they asking good questions? Are they just talking about themselves? You want someone who's
Something
curious
like-
about you.
Yeah.
Something like ping pong, pool, or even like we last summer it was actually, I just remember that one of our clients, they sent me this link to this outdoor movie theater, and I'm in the city. I'm like, where is it? In Brooklyn. I'm like,
Yeah.
so fun. And you don't even need to have a car. They still have seats there, chairs
Oh,
there.
that's
So I was like,
cool.
that's a really cool idea. So I feel like if you go out and do some research, there's really fun things you could do in any city.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, so we gotta have a little fun too. What is, obviously without revealing any names, can you guys share a matchmaking horror story?
Horror story, like, through us.
Well, through anything, a story you've heard. Like first, like date disaster.
How about somebody going on a date with their first cousin? That wasn't through us.
What did they know?
I guess not, but then they were like, all right. I mean, through us, we've never had any horror stories. Maybe once a girl got stuck underground in a train and we felt so bad, and the guy was so patient, and he came all the way in from Philly, and she was like nowhere to be found. That was horror for us because we're like, we look so bad. Mind you, we found him his fiance and soon his wife, but it showed us his level of patience. Like, when bad things happen, it really shows you who someone was. Like,
Yeah.
I would not have behaved that way. I'd be like super frustrated. I drove 2 hours. I'm sitting here 45 minutes. You told her, she didn't even get back to me. I texted her, like, I don't know about you guys doing your job well. Like, I'd be super pissed, but I wouldn't.
You might not think this is a horror story, but for me it was, and I think for Lori too. Back in the day, a girl came for an interview with us to set up with our client, and she came in sweatpants and a sweatshirt, and we assumed like, okay, that's just her coming to meet us and no makeup on. And guess what? She showed up like that with the same exact sweatpants and sweatshirt, no makeup on the date. And to be honest, that to us was horrifying, because you know what?
Oh my God.
It's acceptable. That's an okay second date outfit if you plan to go to a park or
not even. She's not a nursery school teacher. This is a date, you know?
Yeah.
So effort. Like, we're not saying go and get decked with, I'm just talking about the woman right now, just because that's the horror story I shared. But like, you at least need to show that you put in effort, even if it's with jeans. But like, to show up in sweatpants and a sweatshirt, like a little bit weird. Not okay.
Sweatpants were in style. No, I'm just kidding. But to finish the story about our patient guy, she had started the other thing. It's okay. The girl got stuck underground in the subway. So it was very, very, very scary, and was like in a basement for something, and ended up showing up, and they had a great date. But it's important to know that things do happen, and we take for granted because everyone is so accessible every second that we feel like if we don't hear from someone, like they're ghosting, they're ignoring, things do happen still in this world. Like, bad things and, unplanned things can happen.
Okay, that leads me to the next topic then, because I think a lot of relationships fall apart when they've had, 1, 2, 3, or 4 dates. And then all of a sudden you kind of sense somebody's pulling back. The communication drops off. And granted, there could be a million things going on. They could have a ton of work stuff. You could have a ton of work stuff. It's not that you're not interested, because I've had people I'm not a great texter. And I have so many people that are like, I just didn't think you were interested in me. And I was like, what? I was waiting for you to reply. So it was like a miscommunication. So how do you bridge that, like when they pull away gap, or when you feel they're pulling away?
Well, you study patterns though. So if you feel like you use the word relationship, so I wouldn't call that a relationship. That's when someone's dating, right?
Okay, yeah.
So they might think it's like they're doing that with 8 people dating, and you might think it's a relationship. And they're thinking, yeah, we're just dating. I'm dating a lot of people.
Yeah.
But when you see someone's texting you every day and they pull back, something is amiss, because they were always texting before. So I would really study people's patterns and say, what's up? Like, if you're not interested anymore, that's cool. But I think being open and honest, like I have someone who's been in a relationship for a while, and they're dealing with some personal stuff with their ex and their child. And they made it clear, like, I can't give you what you want, but like, it still hurts when someone's pulling back, and you don't know what to do. But the best thing you can do is like, ask them, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to see you less and pull back also? Or do you want me to like push toward you? Like, it's okay to say, like, what do you need from me right now if you're in a relationship? If you're dating, then it's like harder to know what to do. It's like 3 or 4 dates. That's not a relationship.
No. And that's communication. So Kate, go ahead, Jen.
I think something really important with people that are dating is to just not take that stuff personally. Because you might be dealing with someone who is like anti-commitment or just going through stuff in their own life. And I think too many people take things personally. So you have to sort of just have like faith and believe in destiny, and sort of like,
but Jen, you can't say that. When you were dating and you didn't hear from someone, you said you thought they got hit by a bus. It's like, if you're having 3 or 4 great dates and then someone pulls back, it's like, it is personal, even if they're dealing with other stuff. Like,
it's happened to all of us. Recently happened to me.
I can't imagine. I would take it personal. I take it personal if my partner doesn't get back to me in an hour, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, there's nothing on the calendar, and I'm trying to talk to her about a client, and I haven't heard from her. Like, I get what she's saying in life, like, who knows, and maybe they're not for you, and fate and destiny will lead you to what you want, and believe in it. But it's easy for Jen to say, who has in a great marriage. I think for people who are dating, it is really hard. So my advice is, date a lot of people and do not put all your eggs in one basket and cast your net wide. So
Good
when
call.
John's busy working and Sam's with his kid and Tobin is sleeping with your friend, you're busy. Just have all burners going and put yourself out there. And if you're a one man woman and one woman man, then good luck, because that's hard. It's like, if you're looking for a job and need to support a family, you better be looking for lots of jobs. So if that's your mission, put it out there and don't put your eggs in one basket. And everything in life, for people who are married, people who have, you need lots of friends for lots of things. You need lots of people in your life. And just to pigeonhole yourself to one thing will be a very lonely existence in life.
And just don't rely on the apps or just your friends. Like, go become, if you're like to run, go become part of the runners club. Go drink wine, go to wine tastings. Go do things and try to meet people that you have at least that one thing in common, because you never know.
Meet like-minded people. Or if not, you can meet your new girl best friend who's setting you up with a guy friend she has. I mean, I could not agree more with Jen, because like equals like in that sense, right? Someone has to be exactly alike, but why would you be waiting for someone to call you when you could go see a show by yourself? You could go for a walk yourself. You could have dinner at a bar. Like, put yourself out there and the universe will answer. Don't sit behind, you know, your door. Like, I remember my friends, like, I hate going out. I hate guys. I'll still never forget this. Her name's Stacy. She literally lived in my building way before the apps. She worked in fashion. And I go, you're going to have to meet someone in the elevator, or someone who's like delivering food, not the dating apps or whatever. And she's like, Lori, you won't believe this. I go, what? She goes, I met a guy in my work building. I'm like, wait, he's straight? And they're still married. Like, she really, like,
it's meant to be,
like,
it'll be.
That never happens. But it's a funny story that doesn't usually happen. My point is like, that's not the norm.
Well, I think too, it's like we put so much stress and overthinking everything with those relationships. And I always tell people, whether it's in dating or anything in life, just detach from the outcome, know what you want, and just trust that God and the universe is going to bring it to you.
Exactly.
And if it's meant for you, it will happen.
That's what Jen was saying. That's how we met, because you met a guy at a bar. We won't say his name. He thought you were adorable, which you are.
Me?
And that's how you and I met, through a guy.
When was this? That's the original meeting. I forgot about this. Oh, I met him at a party. I met him at a party.
And said, like,
but it wasn't a date. It was like, you're so cute, you should meet my friend.
I didn't say it was a date. I said we met through someone, not a date.
That's right.
And you guys weren't a date at all, because he would have loved to date you. He's not in this state. He's you're looking at kids. He has young kids, doesn't know if he wants more kids. It wasn't a match, but y'all connected. And he said, you got to meet this adorable girl, Lori. She is so cute. I'm like, her pictures are cute, but I have to meet her. And you kept trying the FaceTime little thing. I said, no, we're meeting in person. I don't care if you look at the pictures. You were awesome. And Jen and I fell in love with you. And then the guy we met after was like, who is that cutie? Like, the point is, that's the currency of life, right? The giving, the meeting, the connecting. And that's how we met.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, and it's so true. And it's like, I think that, and I'm speaking from my personal experience when I was younger, is that I think there a lot of people have this inherent fear of vulnerability, and really just being vulnerable, and people have such a wall up. And I know I do. I'm still trying to break it down a little bit, because you don't want to get hurt. You want to have this shield to protect yourself. But when I look back at relationships that didn't work, or people I dated that I just cut off immediately instead of giving them a chance, there's a very common factor. And that was the fact that I was afraid to get hurt. So fear was running the show, and I was afraid to have those conversations. Now it's a different story, because it'll be like, hey, if you're into me, like, let's do this. If not, no big deal, but just let me know. But I think it's like, when you get too attached to somebody without those conversations, that's where you get hurt.
Yeah.
So when is it the appropriate time to have the "what are we" conversation? That's a big one.
I feel like it's hard to put a time on it. I think it's more of like a feeling, because some people could go out on 3 or 4 dates in 1 week just because they have that like connection. They can't wait to see each other. So I feel like overall, we're all pretty like smart as far as like we understand you have to understand yourself, and you have to like have a good judge of character of the person you're sitting across from, and just sort of go with your gut. It's really like one of those, like, maybe put a drink in you if you have to, because it'll make it a little bit easier. Sorry for those of you who don't drink, but like Lori doesn't, but it's like
some mushrooms.
I can drink. Exactly. I'm not like, but I don't need alcohol to be uninhibited is what you're saying.
That's what I mean.
I mean,
True.
My answer for that, I feel bad. My phone's dying. I was not prepared.
Oh, it's okay.
I think, to me, if I was single and everyone's different, I wouldn't, be promiscuous and sleep with a million people. That just wouldn't work for me. I have no problems very open sexually, but I surely wouldn't just sleep around. So if I was in that point, I'd say, listen, I don't want to sleep with 50 people. I'd at least want like hopefully the monogamy there, like where he's not with a million people, I'm not with a million people. That to me is time to bring up a conversation. Like, what are we doing?
But I think like for me, I want to do that before I get intimate, because I am like Jen and not like your other friends. Like I get
That's what I said.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. Well, to me, it's not it's also like a safe, like I don't want to ever have a disease. So I'm not.
Yeah. Well,
health and safety is my point.
Yeah.
Right now, it's also like, and I wouldn't just do that. Right. So to me, I'd be like, I'd want that. That would be able to broach a question for me. But like Jen's saying, we would hope someone could read the room. Like if a guy's going through a brutal divorce and he's like, I can't even think past tomorrow, I would know he's not ready for a relationship. He's not even out of another one. Yeah. So he'd be my like long-term maybe person where we can talk and be emotionally connected, but I'm surely not going to get physically connected to someone like that because he is still physically dealing with other things. So I think you don't want to ask someone, and it should be like I agree with Jen. Like you get the feeling when someone their words and actions are one of the same. They're making an effort. They're making you their priority. If they're able to do that with 10 other people, great, but chances are there might be 2 other people, not 10. And you should be able to say like, hey, I wouldn't want you to sleep with anyone, like, or say something, you know what I mean? But if you say nothing, then it's going to be nothing. So you have to communicate how you feel in a non-aggressive, like, I want you to buy me a house. I want us to live. I mean, that was a
metaphor for my vagina. The house.
By the way,
foundation.
Your vagina and a house in town. I'm not talking about you. I forgot about that. I'm saying that's how sad it is because 20 people use that term.
And guess what? If somebody likes you enough, they will appreciate that you said that.
Damn right. And if they don't and it scares them,
they're not for you.
Then I always say the quicker you say no to things, the faster something so I think it's good just to like get through these people. And for me, one of the downfalls I had is like I'm kind of like a very nice person, so I don't know how to like reject. So like people will be like, oh, we should go out again, and I'm like, sure. I'm traveling for the next 2 months. How's October?
But that's like, not authentic to do that.
I need
that's
to stop doing that.
What you should say is,
I don't do it now, but like I had done that in the past. I'm like, no, I'm just going to say, listen, you're amazing, but I'm looking for this, and we're just not a fit. Wish you the best.
Or there's no long-term connection for you. There's no long-term like.
Can I tell you guys a funny dating story that I had? Because I have a couple. I've had a very positive dating life. I don't really meet bad people. I meet very nice people. But I had one date years ago, and it was a fun first date. It led to a second date, but they lived a little bit away. So I went to visit, and when I got there, they handed me a box, like a present. And I'm like, oh, this is so sweet. And I thought it was like a box of chocolates. I'm like, oh, that's kind. It's not too forward. I opened it. It was a 10-speed vibrator.
I love it. That's amazing.
So I go, as a comedian, I'm immediately just like, well, thank you so much. I love this because I definitely wasn't fucking you. So thank you. At least I get to have some fun now. Like I was horrified.
See, I actually don't think that's so strange.
Right
it,
on
though.
a second date?
And by the way, those things are expensive. So I'm glad you got one.
Well, it all depends on
What
you
if
know,
it
you had
wasn't even
certain
new? What if it was
conversations.
used? It was
Oh,
horrifying.
that's fucking gross. You said it was in a box. I thought it was a new box. Okay, now we're done there. And not enough alcohol could clean that. No, totally. That's sort of funny and interesting.
It
I'm
was.
sure you have a million stories.
Oh yeah,
But
there's.
I guess he Indian gave it and kept it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it's I would say one of my favorite stories is I met this really great guy, and like when we finally started to hook up, this was had to have been 12 years ago. He had a really giant penis, and I was like, I can't handle this, but my friend will love you. And I set them up, and they did it
Perfect.
for
I love it.
like she
Well,
likes
if they're
a
not
big
still
thick hog.
together, she's gonna need pelvic floor surgery.
Really? Oh my God.
So yeah, it's always, but that's what I tell my friends. I'm like, listen, like a date is an experience. Most guys don't want to be your friend, but like you just never know. Like I've actually like been on dates where people are like, we should do some work together. And it's like turned into a business connection. Like anything
Yeah.
can happen.
You just never know, really.
And if you don't like someone, refer them to us and we can pay you in dates.
Yeah.
I know
Exactly.
that's true. Well, you guys are gonna have a
Top
slew of them.
currency.
Let me just send you my phone book. All that.
Currency. Oh my God,
Seriously, we should talk about that. I know this is coming to an end, but let's meet again, or we can FaceTime now that we've met.
Yeah, right, exactly. You're like, now that I know exactly what your size is, we're all good to go. Okay, so where can people find you? Where women could sign up to be in your database, where women can hire you, men can hire you, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, they could go to our website at www.projectsoulmate, and
Okay.
soulmate with the SOUL because it's your soul.
Yeah.
And basically just there's a contact us there. They could fill out the form and we will get back to you and we'll explain the service. And basically we're always looking for people that are paying and non-paying. I think that's really important for people to know. So the paying person gets a more active selective search, whereas the person who's in our database is the one who does not pay, but we need those people just as much because we need those people to go out with the paying client.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. No, that's very, very important. Well, you guys, thank you so much for coming
We're
on
also on
and sharing
Instagram.
dating stuff. Yes. Where's your Instagram and all your socials?
Just the same thing as at projectsoulmate.com.
Perfect.
And we both have our own Instagram, Lori Zaslow and Jen Zucher, and
Okay.
Sharon, who's with us too. We have a whole team of people. And anyone that doesn't work out for you, who's adorable and great, please refer us and we'll refer you people.
Okay. I love it. All right. Well, thank you, ladies. And thank you to everyone who's listening,
you.
wherever you may be. We will see
Love
you.
you and love you for
Love
what you do.
you. Okay.
Thanks
We'll
for
see you
being
next time to
patient with
find
us.
who's next.
Hey, your host here, Madison Malloy. Please make sure to subscribe to the show on all podcast platforms and please rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify. Also, if you have any questions or comments, you can email us at contact@nexttomadison.com. I thank you again for listening. Bye.